Okay, welcome back. So this is kind of a redemption stream from the last one I just did. Not sure why we didn't have ATC. We're kind of going to test out, see if we actually have ATC this time. Thought we did before. For some reason, my mic wasn't working. Anyway, long story short, welcome. Here at Manassas Regional Kilo Hotel Echo Foxtrot. Gonna just do IFR flight to Charlottesville. It's a Kilo Charlie Hotel Oscar, Virginia, and see if we can pick up VATSIM this time in the VFlyteAir Piper Arrow, an airplane I'm really familiar with. Just last night flew this real airplane from Manassas to, we didn't actually land at Charlottesville, but I've flown this flight, I don't know, lots of times in VMC and in IMC. It looks like it is pretty VMC, but we're going to go on an IFR flight plan anyway. Here is FlyteAir. Let's see, at Manassas we have loading. Fantastic. Trying to get just the weather here at Manassas. Great. That's all right. Tell you what, I'm just going to go into VR and we'll fly the Arrow from Manassas to Charlottesville. It's a quick flight. It's like 40 minutes maybe. Let's see what we get. We've got active sky here using live weather. Manassas to Charlottesville. It's looking pretty clear. Still go on an IFR flight plan just to see what we can do. So, all right, stand by, pop over to VR, be back in a second. Okay, here we are in the VFlyteAir Piper Arrow. This is a great model of the Arrow. Just in case anybody's watching this and you want to pick up a nice Arrow for X-Plane, this one's awesome. They're working on a new version of it with some additional goodies, different autopilot. They're working on a version with Garmin G5s. There's a version with the GTN 650, maybe 750. I like the 430. I have this almost exact same airplane in real life. In fact, I got a video up on the channel of just the landing from a flight I did last night in this almost exact aircraft. I've got the 1969 version of this thing. This is an Arrow, I think a 3. It's the kind of longer, they lengthened the fuselage in later versions of it. Anyway, all right, let me get some windows up here. As usual, pop open the audio so we don't have music playing too loud. That's probably pretty good. Pop open chat just in case anybody is chatting. Nobody, just me. As usual, that's fine. That's that. Pop open XPilot. And we do have ATC here, so that's kind of cool. And I'm gonna get a radio check straight away because for some reason I couldn't transmit in the last stream that I did flying the Zebo, and I'm not sure why. So we're gonna figure that out. And oops, pilot nearby ATC. We'll put you there, and we'll put the message console here because I think we got a PDC, which is kind of cool. Gee. All right, slow down then. We got PDC, which is not, we don't get PDC here at Manassas, but we got it. A lot of windows here. So we got our clearance already, which is cool, but kind of hoping to copy a clearance because that's also kind of cool to show in VR how we can use Avitab to, whoa, that's really big, to write down our clearances and copy clearances just using Avitab. Yeah, I pre-wrote, our craft clearance, route, altitude, frequency, and transponder. So cleared Charlottesville route. It's planned Arsenal 5 departure, which you always get from Manassas. Widow transition, altitude 4, and frequency transponder I left blank. And I pre-wrote the ATIS, the altimeter setting at Manassas and Charlottesville just in case we didn't get it. Anyway, we got a PDC here. So 5622 is our squawk. 5622. Let's see, departure frequency is 126,100. It's this one right here. So 126,100. I'm not the best at writing with this thing. Maintain 3,000. So we'll just say we got, climb via SID, except maintain 3,000, expect 4 in 10 is kind of what they would usually give you. Climb via the SID, except maintain 2, expect whatever your altitude is, in 10. So cool. So we would have had our clearance, which is great. What else? Check ATIS for departure runway. Yeah, there's no ATIS here. And I think we pretty much are just going to get to pick. I think the winds are pretty calm here. Sky is clear. It's nighttime, but I picked, let's just do this during the day. It looks better in VR during the day. Contact Potomac approach on 126,100. Okay with the sign SID. Anchor at ATIS when ready to taxi. Okay, cool. So whoops. All right, let's start up the Arrow. We got a lot of windows here and really small. This is actually kind of the way it is in the Arrow. It's tight. So we'll just maybe put this over here. Put you here and put you maybe down here. So this is our passenger. All right. Let's start it up, and then I'm just going to do a radio check with the Washington Center just to make sure that we have comms, because that was an issue before. All right, beacon's going to be on before we start. All right, so startup procedure in the Arrow is a little different. And in my Arrow, it's a little different in this aircraft, but we'll go with the startup procedure per the POH for this aircraft, just so we can actually start it. 3029. Let me just set that. Yeah, we must have been in some pretty low pressure last time we flew. 3029. I think it's So 190-ish feet is the airport elevation here at my home field, and this is actually close to where my actual hangar is. So this is kind of cool. I like flying this airplane. One thing I want to do too is pop this out. Put you kind of over here. This is the autopilot. My autopilot is right about here. I do have the Aspen. I've got the Garmin 430. Very similar to this aircraft. I got the Stratus transponder in the real plane. This one is the Garmin. I forget what model this is, but anyway. All right, let's start her up. All right. So we need the panel lights on since it's daytime. The startup procedure in the real Arrow is throttle cracked about 1/4 of an inch. This one likes it cracked an inch, so we'll again play along. Where's the fuel pump switch? So I got switches mapped to my honeycomb yoke. We go fuel pump on, mixture full rich until we get fuel flow positive for a couple seconds. The mixture would come off, fuel pump would come back off, and then we would open this guy and yell, "Clear prop!" And there's nobody around, so that's cool. And then we would crank, except again in this Arrow, it likes this mixture is going to be full rich to crank. Different from mine, but we'll crank. There we go. And then we would bring the prop, bring the RPMs back to about 1,000. Lean this out for ground operations. Hold here, so let's go ahead and lose that. We got our headset plugged in, our Lightspeed Zulus. Cool. And then avionics can come on. Got our Aspen. All right, and normally I would taxi out and then get our taxi forward a little bit so Tower can see me. Tower is over there somewhere. But what we'll do here is just set everything up here. Altitude, initial altitude is going to be, what they say, 3,000. So we'll set that. There we go. 3,000 feet. I'm not sure which runway we'll get, so let's leave that there. One thing we can do is pull up the plates for Manassas. Should have done this beforehand, but bear with me. We'll do all of this in VR. Alright, so there's Manassas. We're down here in the southwest side. Hopefully, maybe we'll get 3 or 4 left to depart. We'll see. And then we'll also pull up Charlottesville. The winds are calm at Charlottesville too. I'm not sure where they're landing. Whoops. Shoot. No, Charlottesville. Next. We'll leave that there. Actually, I can pull up the SID, the Arsenal 5 departure. I always, every time, no matter if I'm going west, east, north, south, I get the Arsenal 5 departure. So depending on which runway we take off, if we're taking off 3-4, we'll get Shirley and then Casanova and then Widow. If we take off 1-6, it's going to be Gadsby, Casanova, Widow. The top altitude is 3,000, and they already gave us that, so that's cool. All right, let's put this. Yeah, I don't know where I have my iPad and FlyteAir IRL. All right, we pretend that we already have the ATIS, and we do. We got that from FlyteAir. Go ahead and delete the flight plan here. I'm going to turn up the volume here. Well, just in case that was the issue. And we can turn that down with ATC. Delete flight plan, enter. And then we'll enter in Kilo, Hotel, Go, Foxtrot, Entree. And we're going to the Kilo, Charlie. Oops. No. Oscar. Charlottesville, Albemarle Airport. Charlottesville, home of the University of Virginia. And we'll put in our departure in, gonna be the Arsenal 5. I'm not sure which runway yet, so let's go ahead and taxi out. Got a timer for the tanks. We're on the left tank right now. We don't have a lot of gas. You know what? Ooh, you know, one thing. All right, let's pretend that we have a little bit more gas than that. Maybe, there we go. Excellent. It's paid our $5 and what, 70 cents a gallon for 100 low lead. Right, we'll go ahead and push up a little bit to an area where power and you know, can see us, because we'll get our clearance from power slash ground. And actually my hangar is just over there, yonder. Get a sip of this water real quick. And the controlled area of the runway of the airport is, it's right about here. It's not marked. All right, we'll just kind of hang out here and call up Washington Center on 133.
For 59 Alpha, Roger, you can expect that.
Contact between my original 126-100, actually.
For 771, unit.
This guy. It says contact Potomac approach with the sign SID. Potomac approach, good evening. Arrow 1202 Romeo is at Manassas on the west side. We've got the current weather, got our Arsenal 5 departure clearance ready for taxi.
1202 Romeo, Potomac departure. Hello, runway 34 left, taxi via Alpha 5.
Okay, 34 left, Alpha 5 for Arrow 1202 Romeo. We've got to put in our transponder code too. It's a 5622. 562. Let's go out mode. All right. Awesome. Well, it looks like the radio is working now. Sweet. Alpha 5. I don't know. I know it's down that way somewhere. The Potomac approach for Arrow 1202. I'm just going to go to the run-up block for a second, do my run-up if that's okay.
1202 Romeo, that's fine with me. Just call me when you're ready.
Okay, Roger. Yeah, we'll call you when we're ready to get our release. 02 Romeo. Alright, so we would taxi over here to the run-up block by the compass rose, which is very accurately modeled here. Yeah, this is much better than that flight. I don't know what the heck was going on in that flight with the Zebo mod. It's not the Zebo mod's fault. Something was wrong with my comms. I couldn't...
1202 Romeo, question for you for real.
Yeah, go ahead for 02 Romeo.
1202 Romeo, Charlottesville, currently, if we're simming with real-life time, it's currently closed to tower, and ATC service area is closed. Would you like to sim now, or would you like to simulate that's open?
Oh, if you can accommodate, I would love to have ATC at Charlottesville.
No, show me. You can expect that, but...
Oh, fantastic. I really appreciate that. We'll expect then some ATC at Charlottesville for 02 Romeo. Thank you. That's awesome. All right, so let's do our run up.
Departure, so 5377.
So mixture. Let's turn this down a little bit now that we know we do have ATC. And gonna be mixtures. Gonna full rich. Go 2100 RPM. Do a mag check. Left mag. That drop is good. And then the right mag, it's a great 50 RPM drop. Alright, then we'll cycle the props once. Checking the oil pressure, it's good. Cycle the prop again. Just checking the manifold pressure and RPM drop, that's great. Cycle the prop one more time, looking at the windscreen, making sure there's no oil on the windscreen. And there's not. That windscreen looks a lot cleaner than my windscreen looks. Even after wiping all the bugs off. Got cracks, mild cracks here and grazing. Anyway, alright, cool. And then we'll do an idle check. Oh, that's great. Perfect. Alright, and then we'll lean back for ground ops. Alright, we'll do our checks here. Airspeed is showing 0. Set our altimeter, showing field elevation. I rely on this one more than that. Go ahead and sync our heading bug here. We're taking up 3-4. And backup AI is good. Let's actually go ahead and set our parking brake here. I don't usually do this, but my feet are getting tired. And we're departing runway 34 left. Clearance here.
133.72. Have a good day here.
Let's see. Vert is direct. Well, we're going to simulate that we got the R75 to Widow because we never get direct out of here. And we'll load that. And there we go. Alright, cool. Awesome. Excellent. So why is that? Let's see. Surely. Yeah, this is good. Alright. Kind of an interesting looking. I'm not quite sure why we have all these additional lines on here though. Widow. Just activate that leg. I'm not sure what's going on there. That's alright, we'll deal with it. The normal, the usual Garmin 430 doesn't quite look like this, but...
212, Dr. Mike, you're
all good.
about to leave my airspace. Leaving centers off my radar service terminated.
Let's go ahead and...
Change crew, have good flight.
Flight control check.
Alright, go over to Unicron number 212, Dr. Mike, next one.
Full right, full left, and full back, full forward. Trims are just after neutral, set for takeoff. Flaps down, gear lever is good. Alright. Push up to the hold short line and call for our release. Actually, right about here is where we would do our departure briefing. So we're going to depart runway 34 left, straight out. Arsenal 5 departure. If we have engine troubles on the ground, we're going to go full. Basically, bring the throttle back to full idle, maximum braking, vacate as early as possible. If we do get airborne, lose the engine under 800 feet, we're going to land straight out that way. There's some fields. There's a brewery out there, actually. We'll land in one of their fields. Above 800 feet, we'll make the turn back. There's a parallel runway that's 16 left. We'll make the turn, come back 16 left. Alright, departure briefing complete. Any questions, concerns? No questions, concerns. Let's go. All up tower, on this case Potomac approach, for our release. Alright. Yeah, I don't know why we have all these weird symbols on here, but I'm not too worried about it. Potomac approach. Arrow 1202 Romeo is holding short number 1, ready for IFR release.
Number 1202 Romeo, your release for departure, time now 0316 Zulu, the Manassas Windcom, runway 34 left, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 34 left, 02 Romeo. Alright, let's do it. So we'll line up at the runway and then check the numbers on the runway, compare that with the magnetic compass and the DG on the Aspen EFIS. Sorry about all that squeaking. We got some squeaky brakes here. 34 left on the runway. 34 on the mag compass. 340. Go. Full power. Lights, camera, action. There we go. And smoothly applying full power. A little bit of right rudder. Whoops. A little bit of right rudder. Gauges are green. Airspeed is live. We'll rotate, I think, 60 knots. And we're good. Alright. Trimming. Positive rate. Gears coming up. Here is up. Alright. Climb runway heading to 800 feet and then make left turn direct to Shirley, I believe that is. Looking good. Left turn. Pull the prop back a little bit here to 2500 to not irritate the neighbors. Go direct Shirley, although we did get direct Charlottesville.
1202 Romeo, ready to contact, say altitude.
1202 is at 1300 for 3000.
1202 Romeo, thank you. I maintain 4000, clear direct Charlottesville.
Up to 4, clear direct Charlottesville, 1202 Romeo. Sweet, that's what usually happens. Cool. I'm not sure why that is like that. Correct, Charlottesville, enter. Alright, and we are now naviging to Charlottesville. Cool. Bug up, whoops. 4,000. Direct Charlottesville, and we are on our way. Fuel pump can come off.
No 1202 Romeo, you have any approach request to Charlottesville?
Stand by then for 1202 Romeo, not sure.
No. You got that.
For 1202 Romeo, looks like winds are calm. We could take the RNAV Zulu 2-1 if possible.
1202 Romeo, you can expect that.
Okay, we'll expect the RNAV Zulu 2-1 Charlottesville. Thank you. Awesome. Let's go ahead and get back on our heading here to Charlottesville. We can lean a little bit. We don't need to be burning all of that gas going on this short flight. Lean in the climb. Throttle back a little bit too, and you know what? We can go ahead and go. Let's see. We'll go nav up, navin, vertical speed. All right. Now the autopilot will take us direct Charlottesville. Excellent. Very nice. 750 feet per minute. That's pretty much how you do that. So much more familiar than flying the Zebo. Oh my gosh, that thing is a beast, but done this a million times. Alright. Very nice. Nice orthos. There's our railroad tracks over there, which would take us to Warrenton Airport there off to the left. Get rid of some of these. I don't need anything related to Manassas anymore. Fill that too, and Charlottesville Airport, we can pull that up too. Not that the airport is very big. They got a couple of commercial ops that fly out of there, but what is it? Signature is where is it? Right around in this area, which is where we usually park. We have good popcorn, nice FBO, nice TVs, friendly folks there. Excellent. Oh wow, we just blew right through our altitude. Oh boy, paying attention here. Alright, we need to come back down. So that's right, this this autopilot does not have altitude pre-select. And Potomac approach for Arrow 1202 Romeo. Looks like we had a little automation issue. We're coming back down 4,000.
1202 Romeo, if you have sent out and notice my apologies, I see it. You're fine.
Sorry about that. We'll take the phone number if you got it.
You're fine. Or just, this never happened. I wasn't paying attention anyway.
Nothing to see here.
Definitely not.
Whoops. Yeah, so that's my fault not scanning properly.
Romeo, direct over.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that was a little garbled. Say again for 2802 Romeo.
For 1202 Romeo, direct over. That should be the IF on absolute runway 21.
Direct FOMIV for 1202 Romeo. Sorry about the call sign. 1202 Romeo. Alright, we got it now. 2802. That's a different call sign, let's just say. Okay. There's always something here. Let's get back down to 4,000. Act like we know what we're doing here. And then go direct FOMIV, which is the IAF. Let's go ahead and bring the manifold pressure back to 24, props back to 24, and we should be at about 10 gallons an hour. That's fine. There we go, and let's go to a flight plan here. And we'll go to select approach. Make sure everything's all right here on our scan, and it is. Enter. We'll go ahead and activate that and then go direct FOMIV. Excellent. Alright, and we're navving the right way now. Yeah, so that's just, that was my fault, but you know, all you know, excuses aside, the autopilot that I have, you pre-select an altitude, and then, you know, when you're in vertical speed mode, when you reach your pre-selected altitude, you level off at that altitude, and the autopilot that's modeled here in the VFlyteAir, it's just a different autopilot, and it's, you know, it will not level off at a pre-selected altitude, which is fine. It's not the VFlyteAir Arrow's problem, it's my problem. my fault. Just again, I honestly, this aircraft is so like mine. I end up, especially in VR, being in kind of the zone of being in my airplane, and the avionics are a little bit different in the VFlyteAir. That tripped me up. So my fault entirely, but that's why. So cool. We are direct FOMIV. Beautiful. Clear day. Ceiling visibility unlimited. Great day to fly IFR. There is Warrenton Airport off to the left. Fun airport to fly into. They used to have pretty cheap gas. Not so much anymore. A lot of acrobatic aircraft that fly out of there. Actually, that's Charlottesville. Or I'm sorry, maybe that's Culpeper. No, that's Culpeper. Yeah. Pull up our map here real quick. Yeah, it's Culpeper. Sorry, Warrenton's back there. Culpeper is where I did my instrument rating check ride from. We've got a lot of cool warbirds down there in those hangars. It's water here. So we can brief the approach at this point. Quick flight. So Arnav, I've got Arnav Yankee pulled up for some reason. Let's pull up Arnav Zulu. Arnav Zulu. Into Charlottesville. Pretend that the chart is current. FOMIV, which we are direct to 3,500.
402 Romeo cross FOMIV at 3,500 clear on Zulu runway 21 approach.
Okay, we'll cross FOMIV at 3,500, clear to RNAV Zulu runway 21 Charlottesville, Arrow 1202 Romeo. Cool. Got a ways to go to FOMIV, so we'll stay here. 4,000 for a minute. Enjoy the view of the Blue Ridge Mountains. I'll pop another video up there soon about, basically showing the flight that we did just yesterday. Out pretty much due west through there. There's a gap. You can just see it off the right wing right there. We flew through that gap into the Shenandoah Valley and then down around the Luray Airport and then back up to the north, I guess east and northeast towards Winchester. And flew back over the mountains and back to Manassas. Spent an hour flight. Beautiful, just sightseeing flight. Countryside here is just beautiful. This would be the town of Culpeper, Virginia. And it's amazing with these orthos. This is what it looks like. I mean, it's almost indistinguishable from reality and VR in this airplane with these orthos. I mean, that's the town of Culpeper, and then the railroad tracks there. Route 29, I think that is down there. This is just, it's real. This is so realistic. It's amazing. This is a pretty easy flight too. I mean, the Garmin 430 connected to the autopilot. Again, my autopilot's right here. It's a True Track Vision. Garmin connected to the True Track. In this case, I think this is maybe a King. It'll fly the LPV approach. so accurately. It's great the way these avionics work. I've got the Aspen, the EFD 1000 Pro, just like this is modeled. I mean, this is a great example of an Aspen that the
1202 Romeo, the Charlottesville altimeter 302.
Okay, 3028 at Charlottesville for 1202 Romeo. Cool. We're already on 28. Awesome. Excellent. Perfect. Phone was about 16 miles away. Sorry for sticking my head out of the window there. Get a drink of water here. So we do the 5A's ATIS. Let's pretend we have the ATIS 3028. 5A's or ATIS altimeter, avionics, approach briefing, and approach checks. We got the ATIS, set the altimeter, avionics are programmed. We've already briefed the approach. We can brief it again. Actually, we didn't really brief the approach. Runway 21, RNAV Zulu. Final approach course 210, missed approach. Climb to 1,100 feet, then a climbing left turn 4,000, direct Gordonsville, VOR, and hold. Comiv 3,500, APUS is the FAF 2,600. And then down to our LPV minimum decision altitude 826 feet, which we can set here. Oops. 826 feet. 830. One minor difference is when you hit the minimums button, it automatically puts the selector into minimums mode there. Alright, so 13 miles to Fomiv. We can drop down. Not quite yet. We'll stay up here for another minute or two, and then we'll drop down to 3,500. Go ahead and pre-select that now, knowing that this is not going to. We won't stop at 3,500.
Departure. Skyways 3822, passing 1500 altitude, heading 30.
Very nice.
Skyway 3822, confirm departure. Hello, you're ready to contact. Climb maintain 4,000 and turn left heading 200.
Blue Ridge Mountains over there are just beautiful.
Turn left heading 200.
This is a beautiful flight.
Gain and maintain 4,000. Skyways 3822.
Never get tired of this. I just sometimes if I haven't flown in a week or 2 weeks, I'll do this flight just to for proficiency's sake and just to remind myself just how beautiful it is, how awesome this is. I mean, it's just beautiful. And if I can't fly, I'll do it. In the VFlyteAir Arrow. I mean, again, this thing is just it's good. It's a good representation of an arrow.
Skyway 322.
All right.
1202 Romeo, the Charlottesville wind calm, runway 21, clear to land.
Okay, 2-1, clear to land, Arrow 1202 Romeo. Thanks again.
No issue.
Let's slow descent here, and we can set our manifold pressure back to about 21 inches in the descent here. Get us down to 3,500 feet. Oops. Looking real good. This is just incredibly realistic. The only difference really, my ASI is in miles an hour. And I think you can set Aspen and the VFlyteAir to be in miles an hour, but we'll just leave it at knots. So the approach speed is 100 miles an hour. I'll fly it at 90 knots. I'm about to level off here. Don't forget to level off. Let's help out here. Leveling off at 3,500 feet. Excuse me. Looking really good here. Just perfect. Just outhold. Again, the true track, if you had pre-selected 3,500 feet, it would go ahead and level you off at 3,500. We'll go ahead and keep the manifold pressure, and we don't need to go blazing fast in here. It's a nice VFR day. Enjoy the view.
Skyway 3022, confirm your direct Washington Airport.
We've got our landing clearance, 2-1, winds calm. I mean, this is this is pretty much perfect. Again, this is what it looks like. I'm gonna try to pop a couple of videos of this exact approach, you know, up on the channel, just so you can see that, you know, it's just so realistic. I just can't get over it sometimes.
Contact Washington Center 133.72, safe flight.
The only thing that's not realistic is the fact that usually right about here it gets a little bumpy with the winds coming off the Blue Ridge. Get a little, I mean, I'm going to say mountain wave. It's not. People that fly by the Rockies are going to say that's not mountain wave turbulence, and yeah, they're right. But it gets burbly here in real life. In fact, coming back from the last flight I did from Raleigh Executive, kind of was further east, but man, the winds were stiff at I think 50 miles an hour from the west, and they were coming off the coming over the mountains. Were causing some bad turbulence. I mean, guys going into Dulles and Embraers like ERJs, you know, reporting some moderate to severe turbulence, and I was feeling it in this little thing, kind of trying to get back to Manassas, just getting my head banged off of the headliner. But yeah, you know, this airplane can handle it. Gotta ride it out, make sure that you maintain roll stability, and in pitch it'll kind of work itself out. Just make sure you keep the wings as level as possible, and just don't panic. All right, almost a FOMIV here. And FOMIV to Aorus 2600. So let's come down. All right, approach is armed. So you know what? We'll let the autopilot handle this. Sure. Oh, we're messing with the minimums here. Oh boy. All right. Well, that's not right. 830 altitude. 2600. We got glide slope coming in. Glide path rather. LPV is enunciated on the Garmin, and I have the runway in sight already for Charlottesville. I should probably switch tanks. So. Fuel pump would come on, verify fuel pressure, switch tanks, run the left tank. So gas, fullest tank, undercarriage, not yet. Mixture, become a little bit richer. Gumps check basically, gas, undercarriage, not yet. Mixture, enriching.
Delta 785, 1,100, climbing 3,000, heading 280.
Delta 785,
props, we'll leave where they are for now. Switches, right on. Fuel pump come on in a second.
I'll maintain 10,000 left, 230 Delta 785.
One more drink of water here. Sorry about all the jerkiness in the cockpit here. Sink the heading bug. Alright. And glide slope is, well, glide path rather in this case, LPV is captured. And my arrow likes 17 inches of manifold pressure to maintain a nice rate of descent, and about 1.5 miles from the FAF. I'll throw the gear out. Looking really good. Oh wow, yeah. Great approach, guys. Great approach from the VFlyteAir Arrow. I'll throw the gear out. We are under gear extension speed. And that should get us down to flap speed pretty quickly, which we're going to want to get to here. Power out a little bit more. All right, 3,000 for 830. A little more power out. Enriching that mixture. You know, we'll go full rich. We'll go fuel pump on, gas fullest tank, undercarriage not yet, mixture full rich, props not yet. Switches, we're good. Let's go. We're almost to flaps.
Delta 785.
Right at the FAF.
Center is closing. Radar service terminated. Frequency change.
One.
Pretty sure it's approved to see it. Delta 785.
Down to 100. Get down to 100 knots. Rather 90 knots. Go fast. Alright, approach speed's 90. Go ahead and bring the props full forward gas, undercarriage mixture props. And from now on, for our landing checks, we'll just go red, blue, green, which is red, blue, green. No need for gumps at this point. There's 90 knots. Coming down, really nice. It's perfect. 5 mile final. A little more power. Be about 15 inches of manifold pressure. Really nice. Perfect. We could hand fly it here easily. That's pretty much exactly the sight picture too. I mean, that's perfect. Just perfect. Red, blue, green. I do my red, blue, green about 5 times. Just because I don't want to gear up. My approach checks are complete many times. Look at this, 100 knots on final, on approach, perfect. I see 2 whites, 2 reds. I see the Blue Ridge Mountains and these beautiful orthos. Charlottesville off in the distance to the south of the airport. Let's go flaps 2. You know what, I was flying this like it was my arrow at 100 miles an hour, and this is a knot, so let's get down to about 80. About 90, 80, 70, I guess, in knots, right? And let's catch it with some power here with 80. Real nice. Really nice. Coming down. That nose up attitude is a little more than I would experience in my older Arrow, which has a different wing. Mine will drop like a rock. This one, the different wing on this Arrow, it'll float a little more. On mine, there's no float, there's no ground effect. It disrespect ground effect like nothing else. Alright, let's hand fly this. Alright, okay, alright. We got it. Right down. A little more power out and trim down a little bit. Keeping it right there at 80 knots. Yeah, those trees are definitely a little bit misplaced, and we're low. add a little power to keep us back on the glide path. The trees are kind of messing with me a little bit. That is not the way this approach looks. There are no trees there.
Constant 5841, I'm closing soon. You can monitor dinner.
Yeah, this is perfect. All right, laps. Johnson bar, gonna have a 70, and we're just dragging it in here. A little shot of power coming down here. There's 7. Whoop! Again, those trees are not there. Real airport. This is perfect. Center line. Perfect. And at the end of the runway now. Letting it settle. And that's good. Flaps out, and just some aero braking here. Saving the brakes. No need to take that turn off. The FBO is way at the other end. That is how you do that.
1202 Romeo left turn, when able taxi to the ramp via Alpha. Have a good night.
Okay, left when able and ramp via Alpha. Have a great night, and thanks for the help tonight. Really appreciate it. 1202 Romeo.
Thanks for flying. You showed me something different tonight. Something very different. However, flies between the two airports.
Excellent. Look forward to flying with you again. Cheers. Good night.
Our station Mr. Purchase now close time now 0347 Zulu. If you are in the air, monitor Uticom on safety on the ground. Also monitor Uticom. Have a good night.
Alright, and right about here is signature FBO. We can pop that off. Right now we've got all of our switches off, except we'll leave the, whoops. Oh, let's not mess with that. The beacon should still be on, and we'll just pull right on up to the FBO, where we would have a nice marshaller. Let's go ahead and lean for ground ops because we like our spark plugs unfouled. And we'd have a nice marshaller here, just waiting to guide us in to all that delicious popcorn and free stuff that the FBO has to offer. And I think at this point we'll go ahead and just gentle braking, and here we are. All right, welcome to Charlottesville. Might as well do the shutdown procedure. So it's basically, yeah, just avionics off. Beacon light's still on. And the throttle is full idle and mixture, just the idle cutoff. And that's it. Master off. And then mags off. Alright, well, welcome to Charlottesville, home of the University of Virginia and the Wahoos. So I will pop back over to the desktop. We can do a quick replay of our landing and call it a night. So I will see you in a minute. Okay. Back here now, out of VR. Down a bit. And yeah, still here at Charlottesville. Let's check out our check out that approach and landing. I think that went pretty well. Really familiar approach and landing for me. So hopefully it went well. Better than those flights in the 737 recently. So let's go to replay mode. Disconnected, and wow, yeah, he was great. That the controller on VATSIM was fantastic. Kudos always to VATSIM controllers. They always do a great job. Let's go into, let's see, circle mode here. Back us up a little bit. Maybe right about here. Turn the aircraft sounds down a little bit. Might be loud. And it's a little bit loud for me, but I think for you guys it's okay. Yeah, this is looking really stabilized. And, you know, having the autopilot fly the approach really helps. We disconnected probably right about here. It's a hill right here. This is very realistic, you know, even in you know, flying this approach in real life. This hill always kind of take you by surprise, but it makes you a little bit cautious when you fly, you know, just to the west of it. It sticks up there. So anyway, yeah, looking good here. A little bit of throttle jockeying, I think. Not too bad though. I think at this point we were a little bit low, but that's all right. Just add a shot of power. These trees are this is not, that's not realistic. They're not there. Not that you should, you know, drag it in, but those trees aren't there. Let's see here. Oh, kind of a plunker, but was more like the landings in the earlier models of arrows, where you just sort of, if you pull the power out too quickly, it's gonna fall through ground effect, and that was actually a pretty realistic landing for an older model arrow. So yeah. So that's it. So thanks everybody for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Maybe you learned something. I don't know. And again, this is not for training purposes or for real-world flight, you know, training. But I do fly this, you know, this model aircraft, and I got to tell you, the VFlyteAir Arrow 3, really good, just really well modeled, really, really a good representation of a Piper Arrow. So yeah, highly recommend it, and I know they're working on. I mean, I actually have an advanced copy of the new version of it, and it is really, really good. Yeah, it's really good. So when they release that, I just, you know, go get it. Get this one. But when they release that new model, it's really, really, really good. So look at that ghost riding. Oh, and a limo to pick us up too. I mean, that is, you know what?
think at this point, we should just go ahead and end the stream. It doesn't get any better than that. A nice landing, a great flight, and this guy to pick us up to take us to you know, downtown Charlottesville to enjoy I don't know, maybe a UVA football game or something. I don't know. All right. Anyway, thanks for joining. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, hit like. If you want to see more, hit subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Bye bye.